Today we have a surgery tier list. It's going to be a fun video, highly requested. Let's get right into it. So first we have autoplasty. So autoplasty is around $3,000 and it completely fixes flared ears, which is, I guess it might be a little bit small. I'll show up some examples on screen, but autoplasty fixes flared ears, which is actually a significant problem, which I factor in my features category and my scoring, and it is weighted quite highly because it's actually quite important, especially for men. And it's around $2,000 to $3,000. It fixes flared ears for 10 years. Seems like you're paying about $300 a year. You're paying about $1 a day to have your ears go from this to proper. So I consider this I'm ranking this on return on investment, by the way. So this is S tier. Orbital decompression. This is such a double-edged sword, by the way. Orbital decompression is what botched Frank Tufano. If you're aware of his case, he got 4 surgeries at the same time. I believe it was a lower eyelid retraction repair, ptosis correction, maybe a canthoplasty, and then orbital decompression because his eyes just simply weren't very deep set. Now, orbital decompression has around a 20 to 15% botch rate. But as you guys can see in this picture, and I'll show up some other cases, this surgery really does change lives. It fixes the actual bug eyes, literally puts the eyes back in the skull. But in terms of return on investment, considering 1 in 5 of the people that do this come out fucked, has to go C tier. Lafort, 1, 2, 3. Essentially just any of these Lafort midface cuts where they actually will, it's crazy about the surgeries, you can actually increase your anterior facial depth with Lafort. So very strong and powerful surgery. Very expensive. It does have some risk. Less than orbital decompression. Really, this might be the most risky surgery. Even more risky than orbital box osteotomy. I believe so. We're going to have to put a B tier. There are some cases, it's obviously like every surgery is going to be S in some, but I'm just ranking it overall. Return on investment. So factoring result, cost, and risk, basically. Right? Something like autoplasty, easy S tier. Low cost, low risk, great result. Orbital decompression, great result. Fairly high cost, fairly high risk. Lafort, very high cost, medium risk, good result. So, yeah, that's about where I put it. Lower eyelid retraction repair. See, it's not actually changing the canthal tilt. It fixes scleral show. It's pretty cheap, pretty low risk, pretty good result. We can put it A. For those with scleral show or a very droopy lower eyelid, pretty good surgery. MSC plus face pulling, maybe I'm uneducated on this matter. Is face pulling referring to like thumb pulling, or is that like a different sort of configuration? We'll just rank it based on MSC. We'll just do MSC. It does widen the palate. It actually gives controlled force. Unlike thumb pulling, it gives controlled and monitored force. It's been an established device to actually widen the palate and correct some palatal issues. We'll put it in B. I do think it is overpriced from what I know. I could be wrong on this one. Definitely not my field of expertise. I'd be the first to say that. Implants. So implants are expensive. They're very effective, especially if designed properly. The only issue I really have with implants is the risk of infection. There's a lot of people that will get them. They'll love the result. They get infected. It's happened to people I know personally, even anecdotally. They're still, if you have a good designer, you can get really good. It has to go A tier still. The only issue is just what makes implants not S tier is just the risk for infection. And I would separate implants into different zones of the face. So cheekbone implants, I would put in like C tier. There are very few good results of zygomatic implants. Now, jaw angle implants, definitely A tier. Fat grafting, fat transfer. Now, I don't know. It looks like in this image, they were portraying this as like a way to get a leaner physique. Now, I'm going to say fat grafting to places like the eyelid region and to, maybe you have gaunt cheeks. So you can get, of course, I have the opposite problem. I need it removed. I need this taken and put here. But you get my point. I would put fat grafting in S tier because it's fairly cheap. It's permanent. The fat grafting you do, that does stay. And I'm specifically talking to pretty much about the eye region, which is essentially the best place to put it, obviously. How many humans are deficient in paraorbital fat? 90% maybe, right? Unless you go to like Sweden or Germany or something. But anyway, yeah, I'd put it in S tier. It's fairly cheap, few $1,000s. The fat that stays lasts the rest of your life, and it gives a very aesthetic result. Easy S tier, top of S tier actually. And again, I will be getting this myself. Lip lift. Fairly cheap cost, pretty low risk. okay result. It can just go B. You can actually do fat transfer to the lips as well, which is very nice as well. Fillers. Okay, so again, this would have to be split up among areas of the face, because jaw filler isn't the same as like cheekbone filler because of migration purposes. Because if you do a jaw filler pretty well, you actually won't really have migration. It will just, you know, maybe you have to do it every year, it'll dissolve, but you typically won't have migration if inserted in properly. Jaw filler, I would actually put A, but other types of fillers can be literally D. So assume, because this is what most people use it for, is for the jaw, so we're going to put it A. No, just remember this is jaw filler. Botox, you know, it can actually lower the eyebrows a bit by disabling those muscles, and, you know, for skin wrinkles, you know, it's not bad. It's not like really a crazy ROI. It's kind of like a Looksmaxxing for old people. It's not really like, you're not going to really ascend, so I'm just going to put a B tier. I mean, it has a use case for sure. Buccal fat removal, so this is definitely going to go into the A tier for sure. We'll go actually the top of A tier. It has a bad rep because of all these dumbass women getting it, which, you know, they're at like 18% body fat, and then they get, which is, you know, the lowest you really want to be as a woman, then they get buccal fat. Oh, it looks bad. Yeah, no shit. For educated men in aesthetics who are at a low body fat percentage with a low inflammation diet, they still have a puffy face. I'm almost a decent example. I'm still following my diet. You know, you'll see my face change in the coming weeks. But anyway, it has a very good use case. It has a very high return on investment. It's pretty low risk. Worst case, you take out too much fat, you can just get fat grafted back. Not a big deal. A tier. Really good for those who have bad fat distribution. It is recommended you wait till you're older, over, you know, 20, to do this because the fat pad's moving. But brow lift, I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's just kind of like mid. Like the result, like this is just goes to C tier because the results are just mid. Really nothing good about it in terms of results. Forget the risk and price if the results aren't good. Orbital box osteotomy. So the only procedure, and giant implants invented a way to do this without a craniotomy, which means the brain is never exposed. So we'll talk about giant implants. He's really the only guy actually doing this, working with people doing this. You know, there was a lot of results with strabismus. So a lot of people who've done this actually have cross eyes. The result profile for this surgery, not great. The risk is actually overblown. I don't even think it's extremely risky. The price is quite high. Just has to be B tier. It's just super expensive, fairly risky, and the results just aren't up to par. People are having cross-eyed vision, double vision, strabismus, and this is not rare. I'd only ever get this if you have like a 51% ESR or like a 40% ESR, and anything would be better. Okay, even if you're cross-eyed, it will still look better. I wouldn't get it though, for 99% of you. I see people in my school community, and they're like, they have like a 43% ESR. They're like, should I get OBO? No, dude. No. Next we have Canthoplasty. So this is something I actually need. Now I'm going to say Canthoplasty / Pexy. They're a bit different in how they do the sutures, how permanent they are. Pexy's last about 10 years. I'd prefer Pexy over Plasty. So let's just call it Canthopexy, because that's really what's more viable. You know, there's some new methods I've been looking into with Canthopexy of actually forehead incision instead, so there's no scarring or suturing near the canthus, which is very promising. So I'm going to say Canthopexy with forehead incision goes to A tier, because there's no scarring, last 10 years, pretty cheap, pretty nice ROI. It's just a classic A tier surgery. Let me look through this to make sure I still agree with this. Fat grafting, autoplasty, yeah, easy S tiers. Buccal fat removal, lower eyelid retraction repair. Implants, fillers, Canthoplasty. Yep. Lafort, MSC, lip lift, Botox, OBO. Yeah, I really do agree with my list so far. I actually really agree with this so far. Shoulder lengthening surgery. I just need to make sure. I need to make sure I know the price. Yeah, so Yeah, so the price says it ranges from $50,000 to $200,000. So the ROI is just beyond comically bad. Like, unless you are an oil prince and you have a 14-inch bidelt, then it's just a D tier surgery. It's not going to actually change your face. It costs $200K. Like, it's just not viable. Chin wing osteotomy. Now, chin wing osteotomy is actually kind of a bit of an underrated procedure, I'd say, in PSL, Looksmaxxing space, whatever you want to say, because unlike, you know, a genio, you actually can move the entire kind of mandible, so you can change the gonal angle, you can get more height of the ramus, you can change the mandibular plane angle. It's actually it's sort of like a genioplasty with way more options. So I'm actually a decent fan of chin wing osteotomy. Risk is moderate. There are some botches with this surgery. Price is on them. I see it as a high B tier. It has a very good use case. You can actually get a good result from it. The price and risk are just do lower it from A tier, I'd say. Limb lengthening surgery. So again, this is going to run you like 80 to 100K at the cheapest, really. There's other people who charge more. However, you can actually gain a safe 4 to 5 inches of height now. This procedure is quite safe now. Okay, anyone who says this is super unsafe, they're stuck in 2016. They actually have this pretty dialed in, honestly. So you pay 80K to get 4 to 5 inches taller. It has to be at A tier, because the risk profile, that's kind of a joke now. Like, they have this really dialed in, very low botch rate. So only worry about result and price. You do have to be like disabled for a year. Okay, that's pretty terrible. But like, imagine, okay, you waste years. It's not even a waste. You can still do work on your computer. You can still do shit. But let's say you spend years 20 to 21. Then you're 21 and you go from 6 foot to 6'4", for example, the rest of your life. It just has to be A tier. The result is too good, bro. It has to be A tier. Limb lengthening, A tier. Voice deepening. I need to check up on the price on this one. Okay, so on average it's about 5K. I think it is permanent, and I think it does deepen your voice by a fair bit of hertz, like in the tens. So like my voice is 90 hertz, for example, and you know, a male with maybe like more of a soy or high pitched voice would be at like 150. So honestly, I haven't really thought about this surgery much since I'm more into facial aesthetics and like body aesthetics, height, things like that, but it does actually matter. Okay, so the result is going to be mid, because it's not really your face. It's still good, but mid. The price is pretty mid, and I bet the risk is mid. Everything kind of leads me to B tier with that one. Liposuction. I mean, the result's good. It's just like, why not just actually lose the weight naturally? So for that reason, the ROI just isn't good, because you could literally get this result for free and be healthier and look better. Like, everything about it. Because this isn't actually changing your body fat percentage in your face. So honestly, D, honestly. Orthognathic surgery. We'll just call this Bimax, because it's not on this list. Or sorry, we'll call this genioplasty, and that goes to S tier. Genioplasty is easy S tier. Cheap, low risk. They can change your chin protuberance. They can get you a really projected chin. It has a perfect use case of people with proper gonal angles, proper mandibular plane angles. They just need more projection. There's a great use case for this. Great use case. Easy S tier. Easy. Cheap, low risk, great results. Marks everything. Rhinoplasty just goes to A tier. You know, your nose is quite important. It's a very important part of your face, and rhinoplasty is the fix for it. If you get a good doctor, you go to the right place, you're going to be locked in. It's medium price, medium risk, but great result. It has to be overall A tier for sure. Then we have chin wing, BSSO, and Bimax all into one. We're just going to call it Bimax/Trimax, and that goes straight to S tier. Honestly, you can go to the top of that. Yeah. So Bimax is just simply a godsend surgery. Literally a godsend. It can fix short face syndrome. It can fix recession. It can fix, weak mandible if you especially include a genioplasty with it, Trimax. There's just no way around Bimax being S tier. It's nowadays, it's very safe. Don't ever listen to anyone who says it's not safe. It's not affordable precisely, but with insurance, sleep apnea study, you can get it pretty cheaply. And I mean, the aesthetic result is just the best out of any surgery on here, if done properly. Next, we have hair transplant. That's another S tier, actually. Yeah, I mean, it's simple, man. Low risk. You're just taking your own hair follicles and moving them to where you want them to be. Lasts forever, so long as you get on, decent dose of dutasteride or a very high dose of finasteride. Yeah, man. I mean, so let's look through this. So let's say you want to surgery max. This is, I'm not trying to be some salesman, but if you want all my information on all of these surgeries, like where to go, if you need custom help, then I think I could help you with my school community, link down below. Check it out if you want. Anyway, let's talk about this. If you have any of these flaws, like jaw recession, poor upper eyelid exposure, maybe a recessed chin, a receding hairline, or flared ears, these are no-brainers in my opinion. So long as you have the money, they're no-brainers. Pull the trigger, start planning, actually do something. Do something towards ascending. And then things like this, if you have a narrower bidelt, if you have, some fat down here, don't worry about the bidelt, just train. If you train, you're going to be bigger than anyone else who isn't training. And then lose the body fat percentage naturally instead of liposuction. Duh. And, things like brow tilt, I wouldn't mess around with a brow lift. I wouldn't, in very few cases would I do orbital decompression. It is probably the riskiest. It's probably riskier than OBO. Actually, just because of how they're manipulating the orbital bone in your eye relative to it is actually more risky than OBO if you really think about it. So probably the riskiest thing up here. So yeah, just look through this list. I think I did a really good job. I completely agree with how I ranked this. And depending on your flaws, if you do want a surgery max, this is a nice blueprint to follow. If you are someone who wants to ascend, actually start being attractive, even very attractive, which by the way, I'm on the road to, and you guys will see this happen in real time by following my methods, especially with, of course, surgery maxing. If that's you, then I can help you. I can help you ascend 100%. And I really think you'd be a good fit for my community, where you have, my step-by-step guides. We do calls every single week where you can get live support by me. Literally, I'll put your picture up. Everyone will give you feedback. We'll analyze your face, give you custom advice. You get access to the community where people are always talking, helping each other out. This community definitely will help you if you are dedicated to putting in the work and actually ascending. If not, then don't join, because it's not for you. It's going to be wasting your money. Okay? We don't do thumb pulling. We don't do any of this BS. This is like the real deal. And I've already helped hundreds of people look better. I've even helped people devise surgery plans with my coaching in this side of this program and actually ascend. I've already done it for people. Okay? And of course, I laid out a plan for myself as well. So if this sounds interesting to you, I recommend clicking the link down below, seeing if it's right for you. Thank you for watching. Peace.